Students, hearty welcome to all of you in this English world of Aradhya. Myself, Rasmin sir, teaching English to the students of standard 9 to 12 in English medium. Students, if you remember, we were doing your first poem. I had already finished the explanation of the poem and we were doing the figures of speech of every line. Now we move on to the third last line on page 90. Okay, and looked out at young trees sprinting. So the writer, just to divert her attention, looks out, and what she finds that young trees are sprinting. So here the young trees are given the quality of sprinting, that is personification. Trees cannot move, okay, and yet they are given the human quality of running very fast, sprinting. So it is personification. And looked out at young trees sprinting. Second, the merry children spilling. So if you take the same line, young trees sprinting and the merry children spilling, then it is internal rhyme, because sprinting and spilling, ing word is repeated in both. Okay, it is also metaphor, because merry children are compared with some liquid. Spill word is used when the liquid comes out of its container. Here children are coming out of their houses, so they are compared with some liquid, that's why it is metaphor. Okay, out of their homes, but after the airport security check. So here also alliteration, because after an airport a sound is repeated through the words after an airport and a. Standing a few yards, again it is alliteration, because in that line you have S sound repeated through the words security and standing away. I looked again at her. If you take the entire line, after the airport security checks, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her. So there all these two lines will make it what? Climax, because one after the other action takes place. First the security check, then she stands a few yards away from her mother, and then she looks at her. So the figure of speech over there is climax. Now if we take the same line on page 91, first line, I looked again at her when pale. So when and pale both have the same meaning, pale. So that's why it is tautology. Okay. Now if you add another line over there, I looked again at her when pale as a late winter's moon. So here again mother's face is compared with the late winter's moon. So it is simile, because the word of comparison as is also used, and in that particular those two lines, I looked again at her when pale as a late winter's moon. So a sound is repeated through the words at, as, a, all these words. So that's why it is alliteration as well. So both the lines are tautology, simile and alliteration. And felt, now we move on to the next line, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. So again students, you see here the old familiar ache and childhood's fear, both are same. Okay, both are same, so you can say that it is tautology. And the words felt and familiar produces F sound, so it is alliteration. Okay, and I felt that old familiar ache. So ache is given the human quality of being felt, so that's why it is personification also. Okay, but all I said was see you soon amma. All I said was see you soon amma. Now in that particular line you see S sound is repeated through the words said, see, soon. So that's why the figure of speech in that particular line is alliteration. All I said was see you soon amma. So that is the figure of speech for that line is alliteration. And the last line, all I did was smile and smile and smile. So smile and smile and smile. Smile word is repeated thrice and word is repeated twice. So the figure of speech is repetition. If you take it from the beginning, all and, so that those are different sounds, different words for the same sound. So you can say it is alliteration also. So the last line is simile also, sorry, repetition also and alliteration also. So students, with that we complete the figures of speech of this particular poem. Now let's look at the question answers of this poem. First one, what is the kind of pain and ache that the poet feels? So the pain that she has is that she will be separated from her mother forever. Okay, that is the pain she is feeling. When she looks at her mother, she is looking very old, almost like a dead body. That time, that pain is revived, that fear is just coming back to the author's mind. Okay, so that is the pain, and this ache is that she is seeing her mother for the last time. When she comes again, her mother may not be alive. So these two things she feels over here as pain and ache. Second question, why are the young trees described as sprinting? So it is a natural process that when you are in a moving vehicle, the things around you would appear moving to you. Actually those things are not moving, you are moving. But that is a natural phenomena, that when you are in a moving object, the other objects which are stationary, they would appear moving to you. Okay, so that's why here the poetess has described the young trees moving, and that is also in contrast to her mother's age. Her mother is one side, her energy is going down. Okay, she is getting very old, so she might stop moving at all, and here young trees are moving. So just to show that contrast also, the young trees are showed sprinting. Okay, why has the poet drawn in the image of the married children spilling out of their houses? So this is basically done because the writer, you see, was getting very much disturbed at the thought that she would lose her mother, she would get separated from her mother forever. And to divert her attention from this thought, to take out that thought from her mind, she just looked out. When she looked out, she found the trees sprinting and the married children coming out of their houses. This is just to show the contrast, that one side when life is just getting ended, the other side the life is growing. Married children means happy children are compared with some liquid. As the liquid comes out, okay, and liquid finds its own way, similarly the children also are coming out of their houses and they are showing the joyful life, while the other end you have what? Very sad life, which is now ending. Okay, next question, why has the mother been compared to the late winter's moon? So students, as I explained to you, when it is the middle winter, okay, highest point of the winter, that time the day is very short and night is very long. So in such nights the moon will appear very brightly, okay, and it would shine like anything. But in the latest part, last part of the winter, what you will find, the day is longer and night is short. So the moon does not appear that much shiny. The moon appears very dull in a late winter's night. So that's why it is said that similarly the writer's mother also is in her old age. So as the moon appears very dull in the late winter's time, her mother also looks lifeless, very pale in her 66th year. That's why that comparison is made over here. What do the parting words of the poet and her smile signify? So inwardly, when the poet looks at her mother, she is very much disturbed, okay, very much sad that she would get separated from her mother forever. But she doesn't want to express her worries to her mother and make her more worried. So that's why she just suppresses her fear, her pain, and then says her mother that see you soon, Amma. This is just giving her the assurance that next time when I come, we will both see each other. But inwardly she feels that when she comes next time, her mother may not be there. Her mother must have died by that time. But she wants to conceal this fear. She doesn't want to express that fear and make her mother more worried. And that's why she hides that fear Okay, and then while giving, while going, she just gives her smile, just to convince her mother that next time also we will meet, and to hide her emotions, her feelings or fear. For that only she uses such words and gives such reaction of smiling. Okay, students, with that we come to the end of all these question answers. I hope you will be able to write those answers, and you will also be able to make out the figures of speech of every line of this poem. So with that we come to the end of this beautiful poem. Once again, students, I appeal to you to go through this poem, to go through the question answers and the figures of speech as I taught you. I am sure you will never make mistakes in that, and you will get full marks for that. Thank you and have a nice day.